The following podcast has been paid for by the Comic Movie Marks. Hello and welcome everyone to another Comic Movie Marks podcast.
Boom! Today we have a very special guest. It is Eric from Hardboiled Entertainment, or just Hardboiled Entertainment, whichever he prefers to go by. Say hi, Eric.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
See, that was much slower than what he did on Dave. This podcast.
Yeah, I will say, in my defense, last time, on Dave's podcast, because he's in California, I'm not, and the vodka stream is midnight. So I was like, okay, I have to make sure I'm not drowsy, because there have been times where I got pretty drowsy when I'm trying to follow along the vodka stream, and sometimes, to my shame, I slept right through it. So what I did was I got one of those 5-hour energy drinks and I downed it right before.
That explains a lot.
And yeah, it does. That was, lesson learned. I'm not doing it again. I don't care if I end up, talking like this. But apparently it'll be a much better as far as everyone else is concerned. I don't know.
Well, and to be fair, I'm sure I was the complete opposite, because by the end of that thing, I wasn't sure how long we were going to go. And I started quieting down a little bit, like, okay, I'm sure he's going to wrap this up. And then he kept prompting us with different questions and stuff like that. So we kept talking. So by the end of it, I felt like I was just completely brain numb and was like, oh, wait, we're still doing this?
Hello, I was my old friend.
Speaking of darkness. Again, it wasn't until late in the interview into my part of it that I realized, oh crap, I have the lights off. And it's because I usually have two lights on in two adjacent rooms to make everything visible, but I had one light off, and it wasn't until late that I realized, oh crap, I have it off. So I turned that on, but then everyone's like, it's so dark. Why is it so dark? But I just play it off because hard-boiled entertainment, noir, shadow. Why not?
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly. So
yeah.
Eric here is one of the heads of the Project Comic-Con.
Yes, sir.
Project. Basically, they're going to be going down to, or some of you guys are going to be able to go down to San Diego Comic-Con. There's a lot of work going into this, donations, so forth. I'm going to let Eric here take it from this point because he obviously knows a shit ton more than I do.
All right. Well, here's the thing. It was really inspired by the unfortunate debacle that happened last year. The fact that nothing happened, basically. And and it's funny, and as I said to Dave, it was so bad how afterwards, and everyone was really ticked off at each other, and they're all bickering. Why did this happen? What should we have done? What shouldn't we have done? It's your fault, my fault, and all that BS, like to quote Reservoir Dogs. And then finally, some bright bulb, hint, hint, said, wait a minute. Maybe the problem is that we were relying on Warner Brothers to do everything for us. And why were we relying on Warner Brothers to do everything for us? Because we all bought into, hey, it's going to happen. They're going to announce it. They're going to announce it. And Dave is like, that's not what I've heard. That's not what I heard. It's like, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. Don't kill the hype, man. Check this out. And so on. And seriously, as I told him, look, man, if we had listened to you, we may have actually prepared something and would have made that Comic-Con actually something to remember instead of a big disappointment.
That last year's Comic-Con, that was a funny thing because I know we're tiny, and again, no one gives a shit about us, and we were along that lines as well, saying that we didn't think it was going to happen. It didn't make any sense to us because they had such a slate laid out for movies that it didn't make sense to us. We didn't need a source for that necessarily. But the problem was that you did have a lot of people. A lot of people were feeding into the likes that Snyder did, or the big one was that photo he posted of 2016 Comic-Con, or them heading to 2016 Comic-Con with Ray Fisher and Jason Momoa, and they're all that together. I think someone posted that and he liked it, and that was, to me, one of the big things that made everybody go oh, yep, he's going to be there. And then when he showed up at that hotel a week prior,
that was the big point.
it added to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
so
seriously.
it was just this weird thing, and everybody bought really into that situation. I think there was even like a song that was like Saturdays are great or something that Ray Fisher liked, or Saturday, that song.
Yeah, Elton John. Saturday night's all right for fighting. Yeah.
And
good
like
stuff.
everybody's like, oh, Saturday, Comic-Con Saturday, and Hall H is Saturday, and it's like this is gonna be it. And there was just so much kind of people were so dependent on those things, and that's kind of the influence. And I was just like, man, no, that's just not how it works, man. Maybe they just like the picture. Maybe they just like the song.
I mean, Oh, hey, Matt, don't kill the hype, man.
hey, we've been doing the same shit forever. Nothing has changed on our end for the most part.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, speaking for myself, I mean, if connecting it to myself, like I remember back when, and yes, I'm still preening over this. Back when, like the whole Snyder shirt contest, I'm wearing the All the Gods shirt, by the way. I figured I'd do it in uniform, but just the whole thing with the baby and all that. And I remember when I posted my theory on Vero, and Zach applauded it, and I got so excited. It's like, oh, this is my theory's right. Someone brought up, hey, he could just be saying good idea. And I was like, oh, well,
exactly.
But then Dave went on his video, says, I've been talking to my guy, and he said, yep, that's what happens. I was like, yes, yes, I'm right. Zach Crack, that's my Zach Crack moment, I guess, where he applauded my theory, and we were confirmed that, yes, that's what happens in Justice League 2, presumably after the whole thing that Zach talked about in at SnyderCon. Says, okay, Darkseid boom tubes into the Batcave, kills Lois. Clark gets angry and all that. We get the nightmare stuff, and then they go back in time. Says, what doorway would you go to? I'd go to this one. No, do the other one because Barry did that one before, and that's what. And he showed up yelling at me like a madman. Lois is the key. We have to take the other one. So they did. Lois is saved. Clark and Bruce and Darkseid gun each other down. They have the Clark and Lois have their baby, and name him Bruce. It's like, and I love it. It would have been such a beautiful Justice League 2, and we would have gotten it a couple of weeks ago if Warner Brothers hadn't screwed it up.
It's amazing. It's amazing to see how far along that whole thing has gone.
Yeah, it's bad. And we also would have had a Flash movie, and I keep forgetting. Like, was the Cyborg movie supposed to be after Justice League 2 or before?
After.
I forget.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, it was after.
Yeah.
And
we
of course,
Green Lantern Corps that was supposed to come out pretty soon. And the original slate that started getting rumored just had so much hype behind it. And now some of the movies that we're getting, and I'm super stoked for Joker. Don't get me wrong, but I feel now WB's just reeling it back in where they're like, oh, let's go back to what we used to do and keep everything separate. We're still not 100% sure. It sounds like the Batman trilogy is going to be separate from the already established universe. So that's it sounds really the hard thing for me to get over is just how much we're taking a step backwards. Birds of Prey.
I mean, it sounds like, although it does sound like now that the Flash movie's back on track, because they're saying that after Fantastic Beasts he's going to do Flash, which is good, which implies for me connecting that to Ray Fisher's optimism, it really confirms for me the whole unnamed reliable sources claim that their contracts were expired was BS, and B, that it really implies that it was more a delay, that Warner Bros. Took advantage of that delay. Okay, we'll do it after Fantastic Beasts, and in the meantime, Ezra, you and Grant Morrison can work on your script. I really think, at least, that may be me putting on the hope cap, but it's it's good until proven otherwise. That's what I'm going to believe.
Well, Ray Fisher even said he will be the one that announces when he puts up his mocap onesie. That was his tweet.
Honestly,
and when I see that tweet, that's when I'll believe Ray Fisher's not playing Cyborg anymore.
Yeah, and seriously, and seriously, like everyone's now pointing to, all is lost. They're going to reboot the whole thing. Well, how do you know? We got this covered. Said so. Are we seriously not beyond trusting we got this covered? Has it not been grounded into our heads by now that we got this covered is fake news?
He did do that when he did it, everything. He didn't.
Yes, I did. I am sorry, not sorry. I am not apologizing for it because it's absolutely great. You're going to love it.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And he did love Batfleck, by the way. He's like, he tweeted out way back when Batfleck was casted, hey, don't believe the haters. He's going to be great as Batman. You're going to love it. It's going to be the greatest thing ever. Believe me.
Well, there we go. We got confirmation.
Yeah.
That was Donald
And of
Trump
course,
actually on the other line.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, but and of course, worth noting, the current Secretary of the Treasury, Steve Mnuchin, was an executive producer on BVS and Wonder Woman. Just putting that out there.
Jesus Christ, that is the weirdest fact I think we've ever had on this show.
Exactly.
Dude,
Yeah. How awesome!
Entertainment.
How awesome is that? How awesome is
That's
that?
good stuff. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Man.
Regardless,
That's not going to be any Trivial Pursuit game, though.
Absolutely. Yeah. But regardless, back to Project Comic-Con. Like when I was like thinking of that together, it's like, okay, so what do we do? And as it was around the time of Aquaman, there's like, you know what? We got to set something up. And I was actually talking to Charlie, and Charlie, of course, was the guy who did the banner that flew past Warner Brothers that Zach noticed, and he did the video that is carrying and all that good stuff. So I talked to Charlie because A, he ran a crowdfunding and did it well, and B, like that, it was a stroke of genius that half of the money goes to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. It was a way, because like, hey, it's like showing like the Marvel fans, hey, the Marvel fans raise money for a billboard, but we raise money for suicide prevention. Okay, but let's do stuff. Let's raise money for this big stuff. At the same time, we still hold true to who we are. And half the money goes to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. So I called Charlie up and I said, hey, why don't we do something? And Charlie says, well, fine, but I'm going to be a little busy this year. I says, okay, that's fine. Just we'll help put it all together. And my original vision was a booth at Comic-Con. And we looked it up.
Kiss for a Snyder Cut. Yeah.
Matt's first thought goes to kissing. Must investigate further.
There we go. There it is.
There you go. Everyone listening was wondering when I would say it. There you go.
For anybody that doesn't know, we'll just fill it in. For anybody that doesn't know, during the Watchmen watch along, that's kind of hard to say, that we did, it was just a running joke after Rorschach says possible homosexual must have been.
Yeah.
And it just turned into this ongoing joke, and Harbaugh has taken that ball and ran with it.
I ran with it because I remember, I think about it, like the first thing, it was totally out of the blue. I thought it would be cool. Like when we see Moloch like going into his apartment and we see there's a XXX porno theater nearby. So I say Moloch lives near, and I just posted in there, Moloch lives near porno theater, must investigate further. And you guys loved it and just ran with it. And ever since then, whenever one of you guys did a that's what he said or that's what she said kind of line without doing the that's what he said or that's what she said, I would just say something like, Jane wants to hold Rorschach's umbrella, must investigate further.
It's become a punchline. If we ever do shirts, it might have something like that.
Yeah.
We
have a lot of those one-liners on this show, but none brought to you by Hardboiled Entertainment. Aside from that, fantastic.
Yeah. Well, I might as well. People were saying it with me, during the vodka stream, and I didn't realize this because, look, my laptop is in the shop right now. Otherwise, I would have pulled the laptop. I've had the laptop up and pulled up the YouTube stream, so I would have been able to read the stream and maybe interact with people. Apparently, it was a good thing I didn't, because there were some schmucks calling me Max Landis for some reason. I don't know.
What the fuck?
But regardless, I don't know why. It's because Dave had begun talking about Max Landis, and because I was so energetic and kind of crazy. They're saying, he's like, you got Max Landis on the stream, and I was like, yeah. But again, but someone in the stream was begging me, like, Eric, say must investigate further. Say must investigate further. I was like,
you've already built up suspense for it. Oh my gosh, he's gonna say the line. Say the line.
And I didn't say it until the end, but there you go. But I only said it because I knew we were leading into you, which is great.
Which we
missed. It's funny. I know. And it was funny because I was on Zodwriter's show right before you, like the week before you. And I ended it by saying, oh, by the way, a shout out to the movie marks, must investigate further. It's an inside joke. They'll know what I'm talking about. And Zodwriter said, I'll ask them about it. And at the end of my part of the vodka stream, I said it. And then I said it had to do with the movie marks. And Dave said, I'll ask them about it. Neither one asked you about it. There you go.
Well, now we cleared it up.
We cleared it up. Only on Comic Movie Marks.
Yeah, only, absolutely. But anyway, we looked it up. It's an interesting idea. So then he and I like put together the original crew, and we made a point to bring in the Nerd Queens because they were the only ones who had the presence of mind to actually do something at last year's Comic-Con.
Yes, I remember that.
And and they actually, like, of course, they work at like they have connections at Comic-Con. They know the folks there and all that, so they're perfect to bring in. And we brought in some other folks. We brought in Mick D. We brought in Bradley T. and all that. We brought in a whole bunch of some good folks. Of course, Will Rollins, who's essentially become like the co-runner of the Project Comic-Con with me, I guess, because he put up the GoFundMe site basically because I was like, I have no experience in this crowdfunding stuff, and Charlie's busy. So, and then Will's like, I'll do it. So he put it up. I wrote the statement, by the way, and people are saying like, well, it's pretty bombastic. I made a point to write it like a kind of manifesto kind of feel to get people revved up, and it'd be like that Simpsons gif where they go, "Shut up and take my money." And
that's Futurama.
Oh, Futurama? Well, yeah. There you go. I'm confused. I didn't watch it because I get confused by the animation style. It looked like
both
Simpsons.
Matt Granger, so you got it, man.
Well, there you go.
At least you got the guy that did it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I mean, so there you go with that, and with it. But so we were like planning and bouncing around ideas, and then I think it was the Nerd Queen says, "Hey guys, the booths are all sold out." And I'm like, "Oh crap!" It says, "Yeah, they're pretty much you have to get them like right away, like pretty soon, like a couple months after the last Comic-Con. Otherwise, they're all booked."
Yeah, I would imagine so.
So then right then and there, we all agreed, okay, next year, a booth is going to be phase 1 of Project Comic-Con 2020.
Mm-hmm.
But okay. So consider that all a promise, because we've got that in gear. Because like right after, in the aftermath of this Comic-Con, we're going to set up a new thing. And the new GoFundMe, and we're going to be doing, that's going to be phase 1, like a booth. And how big is that booth? Well, it's all up to you folks.
Just make sure you get the Blu-rays of the Snyder Cut from Snyder himself, and we can just hand them out. Matt and I will show up there and everything.
Hey, anything could happen. Anything can happen, because we got Fiona in our group. We made a point. We got Fiona in our group, so who knows? Yeah, but as they said, it's up to them. But anyway, so we were bouncing around ideas when it turned out that the booth was not going to happen this year. And they said, you know what? Let's do the plane. Let's do the airborne banner again. Okay, let's do that. Let's make that phase 1. And then someone found out, and someone was, and then we were talking with the provider, and they said, there's the option of the banner flying in donuts around the area we want for 2 hours. And we were like, whoa, that's perfect. There's our level 1. A 2-hour banner, not just flying past where people will miss it. It's going to fly around that Friday for 2 hours straight and start at noon because people are out for lunch. It's going to be flying around and around and around. We're going to have our boots on the ground going, look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's a plane, but it's got a banner. Look at it.
Exactly.
Perfect. Yeah.
That pilot better take a 5-hour energy drink because it's going to be a long donut.
Yeah. Well, there it goes. It's going to be flying around and around and around the convention center. It will not be missed. So anyway, we can thank DTS for booking the flight. Like that's going to happen. We can thank Alessandro, our treasurer, for booking level 2. That was a digital billboard on the highway going north into San Diego, and it's a digital billboard.
That's awesome.
Which really helps. And not only
what's it going to be? Is it going to be something by Ramesh De Silva? Is it just going to have the words "Release the Snyder Cut"? Oh, okay.
It's Ramesh. Ramesh was designed level 2, 3, and 4, like our art for 2, 3, and 4, and it's gorgeous as to be expected from Ramesh De Silva. And the thing is, because it's a digital billboard, we had an idea for like a color scheme for day and a color scheme for night.
How long is it going to be up? Is it going to be up just for a day or a week?
I believe I believe it's 2 weeks. Anyway, it's at least a week. It's at least a week. It's at least a week. I don't know if there was a dust up with that, but it's at least a week. It's gonna be at least a week at Comic-Con. Yeah, and it's like beautiful, and it's like if you're gonna be at Comic-Con, like it's gonna be, we're gonna have like a beautiful color scheme for like a sand sky color scheme for day and a lovely royal blue for night. That's level 2, and it's also in a way it's like kind of flipping off the Marvel stance, because hey, my pipe's bigger than yours. We did a billboard for level 2 of our fundraising because we already funded something. It's a digital billboard, not a standard billboard like yours, and half the money raised for this billboard goes to Comic-Con. So anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you.
No, you can't.
Oh, that.
Yes, I can.
Anyway, so level 3 is because the Hollywood Reporter every year does a double-length special magazine issue for San Diego Comic-Con, and we took out a half-page color ad for Release the Snyder Cut.
Wow. So I got a question on that. It'll be a hard copy. Is there any possibilities it'll also be in some kind of digital form as well?
I'm not sure about that, but
okay. I don't know how exactly that even works. Like if they even have a digital magazine or not, or it's just website links or not.
Well,
I'm not quite sure.
They have a website.
Yeah.
They have a website. And I'm sure. Well, they might because like it really depends because like on what kind of magazine they are. But I will say like level 3. It's like level 1 and 2 was about getting the word out and making people look at us and see us as big and awesome and something worth checking out. And level 3, the fact that we got an ad in the Hollywood Reporter means that we are now in the big leagues. We're with the big dogs now. We are right. Worth being taken seriously.
That's a cool idea. Oh, I'm sorry to cut you off, but real quick, that's a great idea with the Hollywood Reporter one, because I mean, that even reminds, because that's what people, when they're talking about Comic-Con during that week, that's going to be a source. It's the Hollywood Reporter.
Yes.
And so that's going to be one of the things that if anybody listens to Eric Bischoff on 83 Weeks, it's a wrestling podcast, is he talked about how he used to buy ads in USA Today. So when the sports guys would go on there, because they would use USA Today as information for their radio show and stuff like that. There would be a big giant WCW ad right there, and they would talk about them, and they were getting acknowledged that way. And I could see something similar to this effect anyway with the Hollywood Reporter. And anybody that's picking up things, any trades, anybody, even the smallest YouTuber to whatever, looking at the THR and fucking seeing this and like, hell yeah, there he goes. Project Comic-Con, Snyder Cut. Yeah. So that's a great idea.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, like there was some concern among the crew that, look, considering the connections Hollywood Reporter has with Warner Brothers, would Warner Brothers try to like shoot down and like try to keep the ad from being shown? Like, what would that happen? So, Brad, like he talked with the Brad is all in is the one who did level 3, and he talked with the lady that was running the ads, and she said no, it'll be cool because we're good. And in fact, she was deeply fascinated. Like people like the Hollywood Reporter was like deeply fascinated by our stories to the Snyder Cut, and we were thinking, and they wanted to hear more about this, and they were deeply fascinated by the story.
That's the key. That's the key right there. Everything that you guys are doing for Project Comic-Con is to get it out there more to where a lot of people, is shocking to me. I know we are deep in the weeds with this whole thing, but a lot of people still don't understand. They barely know who Snyder is. And a lot of people that I talk to who are familiar with Zack Snyder don't even know the difference between Justice League and BVS. They think that's the same director that did that. So all this groundwork and everything that you guys are doing with Project Comic-Con, that's the key, is to finally start getting these people to go, what is this? And what's Release the Snyder Cut? And that's awesome stuff.
Yeah, and as I said, like in the chat in the Vodka stream last night, I was like, it's not too far-fetched to anticipate this interest that folks at the Hollywood Reporter are now taking in it because we're doing this ad, it would not be far-fetched to see that ad inspiring them to do a piece, because we've gotten articles. We've got articles from The Ringer. We got articles from Washington Post. We got articles from Yahoo and so on. I've been. You don't know how much I wanted to do that. You don't know how much I wanted to do that, Yodel. One of my favorite movie gags ever was in Inspector Gadget, where that billboard, that Yahoo billboard is careening down, and as they look up and see it coming down, you actually hear the yodel and the banjo playing. I just love that. I love that joke so much. It's one of my favorites. So ever since then, whenever I can, I go Yahoo. Is like, do you Yahoo? Yeah.
And who says advertising doesn't work?
Yeah, it does. It works. And, I'm so disappointed that nowadays they got rid of the banjo. They just have the guy going Yahoo, but he doesn't have the banjo. It's like, oh, come on, guys. The banjo is part of the joke.
They wanted to upgrade a little bit.
Yeah.
Got to hear those vocals. The guy didn't want anything distracting.
Yeah. Well, regardless. So that's level 3. Level 4 is the bus stop ad, because you know how like the bus shelters will have ads, but what we did was we secured all the ad space on a bus shelter, and it's strategically placed. It's in a public area, but it's close enough to it's within walking distance of the convention center. So it's like if you're leaving the convention to go to the hotel, or if you just dropped off from the bus, you're going to the convention. There you go. You have essentially a mural devoted to the Snyder Cut. It's glorious.
That's awesome.
Yes.
I don't know if it was Will Rollins, or I saw on somebody's post, because who knows what pops up in your goddamn timeline anymore on Twitter.
Yeah, that was Will. That was Will posting it.
Was it Will? Oh, that thing was glorious. That was so well done.
That's our
do you know
demo,
how long
man.
that's going to be up for?
A week.
A week? Okay, man, that's not bad. That's awesome.
That's pretty good. Is it gonna? I'm not quite sure. Goddamn, I'm not quite positive. But so it's gonna be just close to the convention center.
Yeah, it's within walking distance, but because it's downtown. It's in that strategic area where a lot of people are going to be going by it and stopping in it for the bus.
Okay, all right. Because I've been to the Gaslamp district down there before, and holy crap, the traffic you get, especially at night. Because people basically, you can't drive down there at all. You can't walk. It's just people are piled into the streets because they're going to all the clubs and everything. It's just a pile. Do you know when the wrap goes up? Is it the Saturday or Friday or the day before?
I forget exactly when. You'd have to ask like the other folks about it, like on Twitter. But like it's like the week before. It's like the week before. Like the wrap goes up.
Okay.
But it's funny you mentioned the traffic, because that actually helps. Like, look, level 5, we made it a point to be very flexible about level 5, because it's going to be cutting it pretty close. And if we get the money for it, great. If we don't, we don't. But at the very least, level 5 is going to be like we're stepping up our ground game. We're going to make it bigger than ever. Where we're going to be doing even more flyers, even more stickers, even more swag, and even cookies. You the Cookie Monster.
Batman cookies?
Yeah. Cookie. Yeah. Did you ever see like there's this one tweet I did where there's this one GIF of Cookie Monster eating, and it's such a Zack Snyder style where it's like quick and then sudden slow motion. And I love that. So I tweeted that out with that GIF with the Cookie Monster, directed by Zack Snyder. And he'll look at it because again, it's like it's his style. Like during the action scenes, quick and then slow mo, and like it's like the way he eats the cookie. It's like he's eating the cookie and then slow motion. It's like whoa, that's so Zack Snyder.
Yeah, especially 300. That was definitely Zack Snyder in 300.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how far until level 5? Is that the $35,000 goal?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
I mean, but we're going to be tweaking it back and forth depending on like whether certain deadlines are met. But it's like at the very least, we're funding a step up of our ground, an expansion of our ground game. But as the big would be nice, and who knows, it may actually happen if we get that extra 10,000 or so. But our big ideal would be nice is a mobile billboard that's driving up and down the road of the convention center. But as you said, that gas district, nothing's moving. So in other words, that's another billboard right there in the vicinity of the convention center, pretty much parked, pretty much in a fixed spot. I mean, they'll be moving as it can, but there you go. It's right there, and people are on the sidewalk, walking back and forth, and there it is. Now, the art for that one was not designed by Ramesh. You can see it's a different style. That was by Alessandro, because Alessandro is a big marketing guy, and he's been chomping at the bit to do something himself. So like, hey, you know what? Variety is the spice of life. Let's do it, man. And it looks good. It looks great. It looks different enough to stick out, and it really fits. The ground game is handing out two different kinds of flyers. One was designed by the Nerd Queens, and the other was designed by Ramesh. And they have two different purposes. Like the Nerd Queens one is more has more words. It's more educational, if you will.
Like a pamphlet.
Ramesh's is, yeah, exactly. And Ramesh's is more showing the art, like it has like comparisons of the stuff from the Whedon cut, stuff from the Snyder cut, so you can see like you can so. It's almost like a guide. Like this is how you can tell a lot was changed.
Dude, we need to hire Mormons to hand those things out. Get them on the bicycles and just have them go around door to door. They're good at that shit.
Well, heck, Amy Adams' parents were Mormons, grew up as Mormons, so who knows?
Again, another fact that I don't think would have ever been known. At this moment.
Aside from
that was again very random. Yeah. Well, I can just picture that.
Well, look, I know. Well, let's suffice it to say, it should be no surprise that I know all things Amy Adams because I love her. But there you go.
I can see the mural in the background. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
The hair.
I'm not that bad. I'm not that bad. I'm not that far gone. I'm not that creepy because I want to. I'm not that creepy because here's the thing. I want. Well, look, I'll try. I try my best not to because my dream career is to be a writer director, and I want to do the DCU. And here's the thing. I want to be able to interact with Amy Adams and work with her and it not be creepy as far as she's concerned. And I could, because I would tell you, well, Amy Adams, like I've always been a big fan and so on, but I better not have any shrines in my place because that would be incredibly bad. That would be just wrong. It would be.
Hardboiled
it would make the tab
to interact with Amy Adams. Must investigate
further. Well,
I don't know. That investigation's pretty short. Right?
Well,
no, not like that. I mean, like it's pretty obvious. Like there's nothing.
Yeah.
I didn't mean like that, Shane. Way to turn it around.
To be fair, what straight man wouldn't? But
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Honestly, she and Gal Gadot are essentially like the Ginger and Marianne of DC. Like, yeah, if you like Ginger, like Diana's the Ginger, Lois is the Marianne. I don't know.
Who the fuck is Gilligan?
I've always been partial to Marianne myself, so there you go. And honestly, and that's why one of my, and as I told Chris Wong Swenson this, and I told the Zod writer this, and I told Lantern this. I've conceded enough to actually be writing screenplays for what I would want to do in the DCU, and one of them is a dream project for like the next Wonder Woman movie. Let's make it Wonder Woman and Lois Lane, and it's the two of them doing it like a heartfelt, smart, sexy, and fun kind of Charlie's Angels-esque kind of thing, but not the Charlie's Angels movies like the Cameron Diaz one or the current Kristen Stewart one. No. I want the cool, glamorous, classy kind of style of the series, but at the same time, it's Diana and Lois doing like especially a spy mystery kind of thing. And I just basically
go ahead.
Yeah, it's basically because. Oh, sorry. Yeah,
no,
it's basically because. Yeah, it's because Gal and Amy like got along so famously. They became like BFFs on the set of Batman v Superman, and which led to that notorious awkward moment on Conan O'Brien's. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Shane. Oh my God. Yeah. We slept together. I'm sorry, my English. It was slumber party is what I meant. and then Jesse Eisenberg is right between them, and the look on his face when the whole thing is going down.
Yeah, I remember that. That was pretty sweet.
Yeah. But like, what were you two saying? Like, I was.
Go ahead, Shane.
Well, I was just going to ask back to kind of the Project Comic-Con thing.
Yeah.
I was curious. I saw that there's a shirt on Ink to the People that's released to Santa Cruz. Is that a part of the same thing? It doesn't seem like it's getting as much traction. Okay.
Sort of. Like we have like a whole bunch of like shirt designs like doing like there of course there is the one with that was the spoof on the Comic-Con logo that had the dark side eye and in many different colors. Yeah. I've been like, I've been trying to like the moment I get some walking around money. I told Mick, hey, I love the one with the blue text, but I want the text in the back, and that's only on the yellow one. Can we work something out with special order? He says, yeah, we can do somewhere out because look, I just love it so much.
Special order t-shirts are a bitch, dude. Trust us.
Yeah, they are. They are, which is why Mick made it clear. Like it's only for guys who are like in the crew who can do the special order thing, guys. Otherwise, you can have whatever color you want as long as it's red, yellow, blue, and if you want the text, it better be yellow.
Well, that's not letting you what you want. But my question,
I know.
My question was, have you guys looked into? I know Stephen Colbert talked about this on the podcast with Dave a while back. But the digital marketing. Is there anybody that's going to try to keep track of these hopefully there's a big boost in the hashtag in either way, or just a boost in Google searches, any form of analytics, either on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, or anything in the Google thing. Is there anybody that's going to be able to keep track of those numbers at all?
We'll look into it.
Must investigate further. Okay.
Yeah, something along those lines. Something akin to that, Matt. Something akin to that.
I was just curious. Because it would be interesting to see how much of a boost these, especially that Saturday, that weekend in general, really, to see how much traction it gets, how much of a boost we can really see in those numbers and what happens. That would be cool.
Absolutely. And then have a way to follow up, on everyone whether they're, I don't know if you're tracking, who's donating or anything like that,
yes, we are.
Some way of just capturing that audience, that specific audience that now is starting to get interested in it, and then follow up with them and, get them to, subscribe on Twitter and all that good stuff.
Go ahead.
We are tracking them. Like Will runs the GoFundMe and he's made a point. It's like whenever someone does like a very generous donation, we celebrate. So.
Yeah. No, I noticed when it's very similar to like almost the petition. When you donate, Will seems to put out frequent updates. I get them all the time, and so it's kind of similar to that. It does suck though when you look back at that petition how we can't keep track of that, because I remember that anytime someone did an update on that petition, it would go out to that 179,000 people that signed up. For it. So it kind of sucks what we lost with that petition and the traction that we lost with that.
Such a missed opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah. It sucks. It's like, I don't know if it would even work to even try to start a new one just randomly, but 2 years later, almost 2 years later, I don't know if you could garner that same amount of interest.
Well, oddly enough, Mick has actually done something. He's doing something like that, and he's set it up. And he's just set it up as part of the project where it's going to be and it's going to be part of, like, for example, part of the pamphlets. It's like in all the advertising, like all the pamphlets, all the billboards and all that, we'll have that little QR code where you scan it with your smartphone and it'll go you straight to that survey.
Yeah. Okay, I forgot about that. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
so we're planning on that. Yeah.
So this actually seems this is obviously very well organized, and this is the kind of the boots on the ground traction that, overall for us here in the weeds and everything, we could start clearing the weeds a little bit and start bringing people into it, with us and stuff. I think this is a good idea, and it's well thought out, and the fact that half of it goes to suicide prevention is always a good plus, and I think that's what, really makes the movement seem more legitimate than others anyway.
Yeah, it does. It really does. And it's like, I guess it's a point of pride with me that this is quite possibly the single biggest thing that the movement has ever done. This humongous, giant, tens of thousands of dollars funded advertising assault on Comic-Con. And we're essentially, in large part thanks to Warner Brothers butting out of Hall H for whatever reason that had absolutely nothing to do with us.
Right.
But thanks to that, and Sony's out and all that. Apparently, like Marvel's still, Disney's still there and all that. But the point is, guess who can now controls the narrative moving in of DC moving into Comic-Con?
Yeah,
us, the
Marvel.
movement.
Oh. No,
Yeah, Marvel.
I think I said that. Yeah, I did say this on the vodka stream, but we still need to get people with release of Snyder Cut signs during Hall H for Marvel. That would be fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I love that so much.
I mean, like the original plan, like before, like one of the plans for the ground game was like before Warner Brothers announced they weren't going to Hall H. Is that, and I really think we're still going to do this. We're pretty much still going to do this. But we're like, go walk up and down the line, like, because those people are going to be sitting there Thursday night, Friday, and then Saturday, then before the doors of Hall H open, they're going to be sitting there in line and whatever. Like they may be in groups where some people can go into the convention center and then come back, and the next people can go in. But what we're going to be doing is like going up and down. We're going to be handing them that swag. We're going to be handing them those flyers and all that. They're sitting in line. What do you think they're going to be doing? They're going to be reading. They're going to be eating the cookies and all that good stuff. But they're going to be reading. They're going to be reading, and they're going to be educating themselves. And that's going to be the DC presence at Hall H. Us.
And another big thing that we've forgotten to mention is Ray Porter will be there as well.
Yes.
Our suspected dark side. I don't even know why I say that anymore, but
it's confirmed.
It's pretty much confirmed at this point.
Yeah.
And I loved Will deserves the highest praise that he got Ray Porter to endorse us in that video. He goes, Project Comic-Con release. Sorry, I don't know what that was. It just came out.
So great. I love that. When I heard that, I was like, damn, there's so many moments where it's just frustrating, where you're like, another missed opportunity. But that part right there, I was like, that's fantastic stuff. Like, we got us a brief glimpse of potentially what could have been the dark side voice, but it was awesome. Gave me chills.
And you know what? That voice, like hearing that dark side voice, I was thinking, you know what? It reminds me of Michael Ironside's dark side voice, just deeper. Kind of. It's not quite, but it's enough like Michael Ironside's voice to imagine it.
Right. I was curious when he said the no EQ, no this, all that stuff. I was wondering if that means he legitimately was going to be straight his voice. They weren't going to do any alterations to it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what that means or not, or if they were going to change it.
Yeah, people are saying, oh, he's saying that line was not Steppenwolf, but him. Yeah. And as I recall, I said from the beginning, he could have just been joking around with Ciarán Hinds.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. That's the thing that people don't. That's always what Shane and I have been saying for so long is perception matters. And because we might think Snyder Cut, 23/7, because I got to have at least 1 hour to myself. It doesn't mean that other people are thinking the exact same thing. When Aquaman, when Jason Momoa is running out of a building screaming about, oh, you can't imagine what's going to happen next, or whatever, all that stuff. Yeah. We can think all we want that it has something to do with the Snyder Cut, but it could be that he just got a huge contract, or Aquaman 2 is going to be the biggest fucking thing of all time. They're going to put so much into it to try to make it huge. Who knows what he's going to do? He's their first $1 billion movie since Dark Knight Rises. Of course, he's going to have a bunch of potential thrown at him right now. Who knows what it can be about? And it was just perception matters. It really does.
Like that video of him chilling with Henry Cavill at that party and all that. Like, is Henry Cavill going to be in Aquaman 2? Well, who knows? All I know is this. Look. That announcement that Henry Cavill is playing Sherlock Holmes in that movie about Sherlock Holmes' sister.
Yeah.
And it's a Warner Brothers movie, so he's still working with Warner Brothers. We know that The Rock is still Black Adam because the Black Adam just got a writer that he's with, and he jived with him, and The Rock helped pick him. The Rock and Henry Cavill have the same agent. And that agent helped produce Shazam. So he's there. So Danny Garcia is still talking with Warner Brothers. You take all that together, and this is just me, but it's like, look, no one's going to tell me that Henry Cavill is out as Superman. Certainly not. We got this covered.
The thing is, though, is something. I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer, I swear, but I still think Henry Cavill is still going to be Superman for the most part. I think they're going to either do some kind of cameo in Supergirl, or they're going to give him his damn movie he deserves. One of the two. But the thing is, though, Snyder has something similar, though. That's the thing. He still has a relationship with Warner Brothers. I mean, he was on the lot, for God's sakes, when that banner went over. The Fountainhead is part of a Warner Brothers production.
I can't wait.
The other thing is, in SnyderCon, when he showed those 3 movies, 2 of them were Warner Brothers movies, and so he has to have some kind of back and forth with him still, because yes, those are his movies, but he's still got to have permission from Warner Brothers to show Batman versus Superman and Watchmen. So he still has a relationship. It's just when it comes to his cut of Justice League, they obviously see differently.
Well, especially with one by one, the saboteurs who ruined his vision are gone, one after the other. Sujihara's gone. Emmerich, honestly, Emmerich's days have got to be numbered. It's only a matter of time.
Kevin Sujihara.
John Berg's gone. Diane Nelson. Whedon. Jeff Johns has been kicked to the side. Like, now he's just writing Green Lantern Corps, presumably. I don't know if he's still doing it. But regardless, we have but who do we have coming in? We have J.J. Abrams, who is a known Snyder ally, who is also he and Zach have been very friendly with each other, joking around with their respective franchises and all that.
Yeah.
They're allies in the fight to keep shooting on film. And of course, J.J. Abrams, whenever he comes in to save a franchise, he makes it a point to preserve the original cast whenever possible. He preserved Tom Cruise and Vig Rhames and so on for Mission Impossible 3. He kept the old guard for Star Wars. And for Star Trek, well, he had to do a new cast, but he brought in Leonard Nimoy, and he emphasized that the original timeline is still around. So if he's coming around, being given the keys and Warner Brothers has given him the keys to the kingdom, he's a friend of Zack Snyder's. That gives me a lot of hope for the DCU. And B, just imagine him doing Superman. And with that in mind, he'll be darned if he's going to do any unnecessary recasting. He's going to keep the DCU cast that's still around. He's going to keep, and if for Superman, it's a given. He's going to keep Henry Cavill and Amy Adams, especially if you all remember Superman Flyby. Henry Cavill was a finalist to play Superman in Superman Flyby. He was certainly close enough to do the suit. And Amy Adams apparently was his Lois. It was going to be Matt Bomer and Amy Adams as Clark and Lois.
Interesting. I did not know that, actually.
Yeah. And it was cool. Like, apparently, the original, and if you ever look, and for everyone who is saying, oh, well, J.J. Abrams just all about nostalgia, have you, take a look at everything that's ever been written about Superman Flyby. He was more of a risk taker than Zack Snyder is.
Well, wasn't he the one that was going to bring in Will Smith as Superman at one point? I'm pretty sure.
That's the first I heard of any of that. And I
vaguely remember.
Someone was it? Yeah, it was in talks. I feel like it was J.J. Abrams, but I can't remember.
Keep in mind though, he wasn't the director, he was the writer for it. But he was the writer for it and the one one of the guys doing it, but he wasn't the set director. And I was surprised to learn, wait a minute, he wasn't the director? No, he was just the writer. Oh, well, there you go. But
really? Man, I would have swore.
But the final lineup, it was Matt Bomer, the white collar guy, and Amy Adams. And Henry Cavill was a finalist. So in other words, they were all looking at him. So it's pretty much a given that J.J. Abrams would keep Henry and Amy and Lawrence Fishburne and all the rest.
Yeah, of course. Well, actually,
that's assuming he'd do it.
Yeah, that was. I mean, the thing is with all these people coming in, it's just whether or not it's going to gain any traction. To me, if you want to make money on a movie, you have a movie that's sitting over here that is. We can argue about the percentage of it being complete, whatever, but it's let's say at least 3/4 done. At least it's at least 3/4 done. So some a little bit more investment into it, you get it out there, and you can make a good chunk of change on it because it's a completely different movie. The thing is, at the end of the day, it's just ego. It really comes down to ego and who's left, and that's Toby Emmerich. And there could be some other small executives in there we don't know about that are maybe nameless. But
well, because they're nameless is not going to matter. But anyway, but I will say this: that the $40 million, even if you accept John Aaron Garza's $40 million number, that's a drop in the bucket. And I'll tell you, all you have to do is release it in China and market the fact that one of China's biggest stars, Ryan Zhang, is playing Dr. Ryan Choi, also known as the Atom. And Dr. Choi has not a big role, but a significant, but an important role in the movie, because I strongly suspect, because Dr. Choi, the Atom, he knows all about subatomic stuff and all that. I'm pretty sure he's the one who figures out that because Clark has the codex in his body, that he can come back as Clark. That's just me speculating, but I'm pretty sure that's what's going on.
That's a possibility. That's definitely a possibility. Yeah. So I don't know, man. It's a weird time, and hopefully,
Sorry about that. I will say this. You remember when someone tweeted to, I think it was Chris McQuarrie, hey, Chris, like, has anyone called you up about Man of Steel 2? And he said no, and they won't. And I can't help wondering, maybe the reason he knows they won't call him up is because they already have J.J. Abrams lined up to do it, but he can't say it.
I mean, or they just don't plan on doing anything with Henry. I mean, that could be the negative part of it.
That would be the worst case, but which is why, like, honestly, I will say this. And I've said this forever. My line in the sand as to whether or not I'll continue supporting the DCU or not is, look, you guys recast Henry and Amy. You guys lose Henry and Amy. And you recast Clark and Lois. I'm done with you guys. Screw you. I'm out.
It's tough as it is.
After losing Ben Affleck as Batman, that was when I started to get pushed. Just recently watched Man of Steel on Father's Day weekend again, and I had kind of the same feeling of, man, if they recast this, and I don't want to be like the Christopher Reeve fan of, that's always going to be my Superman. And I love Christopher Reeve. Brandon Routh did a pretty solid job. But when it comes to Henry Cavill and what I picture as a comic book Superman brought to life, recasting him at this point, it would be very hard for me to accept someone else. Yeah,
that would be stupid. Amy Adams, leaving aside the fact that she is the Lois Lane of the late 80s, early 90s, and the 90s, the John Byrne and Dan Jurgens. If you look at Dan Jurgens' comics, it is so eerie how much she looks like Amy Adams, almost as if Dan Jurgens looked into the future, saw Amy Adams playing Lois, as okay, I'll draw her that way. It's so eerie. I even said that on Twitter to Dan Jurgens, and Dan Jurgens liked my tweet.
Confirmed.
How awesome is that? But anyway, besides that, Amy Adams has just gotten her 6th Oscar nomination. What kind of idiots would you have to be to lose her from your franchise?
Well, she's not even sure what her future holds.
Yeah, and that's just so bad. It's like, what the hell are you doing, Warner Brothers? The 6th-time Oscar nominee, you better not lose her. Otherwise, I am so done with you.
Yeah, that is a line in the sand, I think. I don't know. Yeah. It will be tough. It will be tough for the most part. So I think we're going to have to wrap it up here, though. And
well, before we do, I don't want to end it on a low note, so I'll just end this on this high note. Guys, everyone listening in, we will win in the end. And I know this as a fact that releasing the Snyder Cut at some point is completely, totally 100% inevitable. They will do it at some point. Now, it may take a few years or so, but they release the Donner Cut. They'll release the Snyder Cut. They will release it at some point. It's just a matter of when, sooner or later. I would rather it be sooner, and that's where the movement comes in to make it sooner.
Yep. There you go.
I need to stop eating cheeseburgers so I can make it to the end.
And just to throw this out there, if someone's listening that hasn't donated to the GoFundMe, look up Project Comic Con GoFundMe. It's over $25,000 right now.
We'll have a link in the description.
Yep. Bam. Yeah. There you go. So pretty cool stuff. And then a t-shirt on Ink to the People.
And if you're around
Absolutely.
the area too, if you're in the California area, or hell, even Vegas is not that far of a drive from there.
Yeah.
If you're in that area, I mean, go down, check it out. I mean, Ray Porter will be there. You can help be the boots on the ground, help hand things out. If you're like a MMA fighter, go down there, and so you can whip some Marvel guys' asses if they try to say something.
Oh wow.
And
hey, bring in Nick McKinless and have him kick butt like his young Ares in his whole young Ares suit. Have him with the swinging his axe around. Who called Zack Snyder a hack?
Ares,
God of War.
Ares and Darkseid at Comic-Con, huh?
Yep, there we go.
Yeah. Oh yes, absolutely. Darkseid's coming. Yeah.
That sounds good, man. In case I don't see you.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.